Yo. We have another episode of On Your Highlight Podcast, brought to you by Neighborhood Athletes. Again, this is a podcast where we want to give local athletes, it don't matter if you OPS, it don't matter if it's Bellevue, it don't matter if it's Millard, it's just athletes, we all in the metropolitan area, so we want to give people just a platform where they can just kind of talk about football, talk about life, and I just so happen to want to build it around, pre-game conversations to post-game interviews and so forth, solely for the high school and solely for y'all. Feedback is definitely welcome. Feedback is definitely welcome because this podcast is going to go as far as y'all, the youth, you high schoolers, so I want to be able to get athletes on here, open them up a little bit, talk about life sometimes, also talk about in-game experience, talk about some recap. We can recap, the game. We can do all of those things. So, nothing's really scripted. It's all, free talk, just to get inside these young athletes' head. And yeah, so let's talk about the community support. Again, it's local. So again, we want to be able to highlight as many athletes as we can. So community support is very, very important. We are in a new area. I'm going to always re-emphasize this, where these athletes nowadays, they have cameras everywhere, man. They got like little league football games, baseball. It don't really matter. There's cameras everywhere. So if you have cameras everywhere, then that's opening up for more viewers and eyes to see you on some platform, some social media platform. So you actually building a community beyond your community. So this podcast is allowing, the athletes to kind of get their self out there, and then kind of earn you guys' trust in the community, that they're not just athletes, but, again, we'll get into some of these guys' life a little bit, so y'all can hear them. Branding and marketing, man, another huge reason why I wanted to start this podcast here. Again, the athletes today, we are in an era where, they get to market themselves, they get to brand themselves, as an athlete. I think the best, more education on that at the youth level, the better. So, you guys can leave comments, you can give feedback, ask questions as it relates to that. And, as a community, as a family of those who follow this podcast, we can come up with the best answer, come up with the best solutions. So, that's what we're going to always be about, is putting the athlete in a position to win. Sometimes, they can win early in life. They don't have to wait. They don't have to wait nowadays. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. That's where we're going live at right now. So if you're watching this, you won't be able to see it on IG. I'm trying to get it figured out so where I can kind of go on Twitch and kind of do my thing with Twitch and do it that way. But that is still to be unknown. But for right now, follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Go to Neighborhood Athletes at all three platforms. You can find us live right now. The podcast, we want to always roll it live on Friday nights after 11 p.m. That's the goal. We want to, again, this is you guys' high school platform, so, and it's not just for the highlighted athlete that we see on the news week in and week out. I prefer that it be those that you could consider the underdogs, those that's under the radar right now, but they just on a different mission. They work just as hard as the highlighted athletes throughout the state. So they just on a different mission. So, those are the guys that I really want to tap into, man, and give them this platform, man, to kind of boost their energies, man, and and put them in position to get some exposure. Because again, if it's on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, then at some point we want to get some college coaches to be watching this thing, especially if you're having a good game and you on here, right after the game, and I'm like, man, walk me through this play, man, when you just scored this winning touchdown. What's going through your mind, So yeah, we want to give as many athletes the opportunity to get on this show, and use this platform to promote them, as an athlete. So today's show, we're going to just kind of, recap some things on that week 0 with Bell West, and Creighton Prep. I'm going to just kind of give my little 2 cents to that. Not only, was it the week 0 game, but, my son did play in that game. So I definitely want to kind of talk about that. And then we have the privilege, to, get the guy who, actually put together the winning drive, man. Like, it takes somebody different, man, to really just be chilled and drive. I think it was about 80 yards, putting combination of plays together, reading the defense, looking at his check down, ultimately coming up with a winning drive. I think as a QB, I think that's like really like the ultimate goal throughout the game is you kind of get the flow of the game, and then you have an opportunity to get a winning drive. Like in basketball, I'm a basketball guy, so that's like equivalent to, you already know in your head because you work on this so many times. 5, 4, 3, 2, and it's just like that. So we are going to definitely talk to my man Danny Kaelin, from Bellevue West. He was the quarterback who led their team to victory. We're going to get him on here, and we're going to see what was going through his mind in his first game of week 0. So let's get back to the conversation, man, with Bell West and Creighton Prep. So, I go to the games, and if I just take the factor that my son not in the game, I kind of look at the game like different, real different. Because I feel like the game has changed in the way of the spread offense. It's a matchup game. Where can you find the best mismatch to give your team the best opportunity to win a possession? That's ultimately get a touchdown. And you look at these offenses, not just locally, but nationally right now. You got the birth of 7-on-7. 7-on-7 is the thought process of spreading out the offense, and you put so many hours of doing that, a lot of high schools is adopting just that style of spreading out the offense. So when I'm looking at the game and analyzing the game and the athletes, it's kind of, I do tell Isaiah this all the time, like the game, it seems like it's basketball on turf now. How can you get the mismatch out in open space and create opportunity once again, So I think in this game here, I think that really showed its face, Creighton Prep came in at rank number 3, I want to say, and then Miller North was kind of right behind them at 4. I mean, not Miller North, I'm sorry. Ooh-wee! Bell West. Y'all see where my mind was at? Y'all didn't hear that. Y'all didn't hear that. That's just, I just had to get some, I guess I just had to get some love to the Mustangs out there. That's, you guys was on my mind. But Creighton Prep and Bell West, like I said, I feel like that was the case in that game. But Prep came in with, just the kind of the scout sheet was going to be run heavy. Who can kind of dominate the trenches, throughout the game. Who gonna be more in shape. Prep wanted to eat up that clock as much as they could, man. I know they did, boy. Man, I think it was the second quarter, I want to say, they had the ball for 7 minutes, about 6 to 7 minutes. I mean, and they was putting together drives, first downs after first downs after first down. So I'm kind of like, their identity was like born immediately. And I think that's kind of the scout sheet for them throughout the year. It's kind of like that last year. And I really felt like on the defensive side for Bell West, that was the unknown. How would they hold up against, an all-state running back and Marty, Shamar Brown, and then, they had a lot of, good linemen, Big 66 Sledge, and a couple of other guys that's some high-profile guys. I kind of feel like the WS, defense kind of held them guys up pretty good. They was really, it was an unknown with them adding some transfers in, and then they lost some guys up front, some bigger guys up front. So I think that was the test to see how well they was going to hold up their weight on that line to kind of, stop that run game. I think Shamar Brown still ended up with like plus 150, 160, yards on the ground. So, he gonna do his damage. To my knowledge, he didn't get any big plays, no home run balls, so that's a good thing. And with their success running the ball is what kind of got them back in the game. They was down, I want to say 21-7, and they just kept being consistent, So it kind of went in their favor, minus a questionable. I will keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. A questionable call, I think, right on their sideline, man. They had momentum, man, and they got a penalty that kind of set them back, and that kind of got them out of their identity because they was moving the ball. They had the most momentum, and so I think that was a pivotal point of the game. But all in all, I think it was a great game to start week 0. Definitely a packed crowd. We'll talk about some key guys. I kind of feel like throughout the game, later, maybe Danny can kind of talk about that, but we're going to get him on here pretty soon. So yeah, that's a breakdown from my point of view on that Creighton Prep, Bellevue West game. Both teams, really have 2 big tests this week. Creighton Prep, they go over to play West Side, so that's like a 1-3 matchup, I want to say, or 2-3 matchup in some polls. And then you got Bell West and North. North High is definitely going to be a team where other teams in the Metro is not going to count them out. Just because, again, like I said a little bit ago here, I feel like the game is open. It's spread open. Everybody's running the spread offense. It's a matchup game. Where's the best mismatch at? And how can we get our guy in open space to create opportunities? I don't have to have all that football lingo and that football talk, but that's just kind of what it seems like, and North definitely has some athletes that kind of get out in open space and do some things. So we're going to get Danny on the show, just kind of talk to him, get his breakdown of the game, and then yeah, we're going to come back. All right, let's see here. We come back in 30 seconds. Now we back here. We just waiting on Danny to join us here. But as soon as he joined, we'll get him on. We'll kind of pick his brain again on some things. Man, I feel like he, his first game here, as the starting quarterback, I feel like it went well. So we just going to pick his brain here and see, what was his thoughts going to his first game, week 0. So without further ado, let's get Danny on the show here. Here we go. There he is.
What's happening?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me just turn some things down really fast. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on the show here.
Sure.
This is Danny Kaelin, right?
Kaelin.
Danny
Close
Kaelin. Okay, that's my fault.
Nah,
Danny Kaelin, starting QB with Bellevue West High School. I asked him a weeks ago, about getting him on the show. This is something new that I'm doing. I want to give guys a platform where they can kind of use their voice, other than just, right after the game, some cameraman rolling up to you and, you got to kind of be on the spot. That's all good,
yeah.
but I think sometimes your fans and, viewers want to kind of, get inside your head and see, what it is that's helping you become a better player, or some things that you do outside in the community or how you interact with fans and so forth. So this platform is specifically for that. So it's not a scripted type of podcast. So we just kind of go with the flow here. If there's some questions that you don't want to answer, no doubt, respect. Just be like, hey man, I don't want to answer that right now. However you want to do it.
Yep.
Okay. Sound good?
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. So let's kind of go into this thing, man. So let's talk about this summer. There was some additions that was added to the roster. What is your thoughts on the guys that came? How did you feel like they would fit, before coming in, and where you guys are at right now? Even though you just had one game, what was your thought? Because to me, it seems like, man, you're like a guy that studied the game in and out. So if you would have heard of a transfer coming in, like the buzzes, I kind of feel like you was a guy that's going to do your homework and look, So what was your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think as far as like transfers this offseason, we got a lot of like pieces that we needed. Not at positions, we already had a lot of talent at. We got guys that I knew that coming in, they were going to play. Like we got Isaiah, J-Bug, Caden. So starting off with Isaiah, like you said, doing my homework. So I had known of Isaiah through social media. And then I remember my freshman year, me and Davon went to Millard North, I think, versus Millard West.
Okay.
And I remember he started as a freshman. I was like, hey, Davon, like, this is a freshman. Like, he's starting. And then, like, he made a play. And then after I heard he was transferring over, like, I hit him up on Instagram. And, like, I watched his highlights. I was like, over 1,000 all-purpose yards. So coming in, I knew he was going to be a dynamic player. And then, obviously, he's already fit in well last week, being the leading receiver, making a bunch of plays. I mean, I was just throwing him bubbles, and he was taking it 25 yards, like, every single time. So he's been a great piece. And then secondly, J-Bug. So J-Bug, I hit him up on Instagram during the offseason too. And, like, I couldn't believe that he was a guy that, like, wasn't getting a lot of buzz. I'd never really heard a lot about him, but, I mean, he was massive. He can move. And so Jane Roberts was our starting linebacker last year, middle linebacker. He was a stud, and I knew that was going to be a piece that we were going to have to fill somehow. We already have 3 good senior linebackers, and then J-Bug came in, and he's already taken over that middle linebacker spot. And once again, last week, he's already proven that he's more than capable of making plays there. He was lighting people up. That was super fun to watch. And just in school, like, he's a funny dude, chill dude. I think he's another great add to the roster. And then, Yeah, you talked to him, yeah. And then last one was Caden Echternock, who I think was also a really good piece to add because 2 highly recruited tight ends last year, and both were seniors, losing both of them. So obviously that was another void that had to be filled. So hearing that, I'd been with him kind of a little bit, at Warren Academy. I'd seen him a little bit. And so I remember he talked to me during off season. He was like thinking about trying to go to Gretna. I was like, well, you got to move to go to Gretna. He was like, oh. Yeah. And so I said, like, man, like, like that could happen. Like, if you want to come to Bell West type of stuff. And I didn't pursue it too much because I don't want to be the guys going out like recruiting everybody and like making. But I mean, people come to Bell West every year because it's a place where you can be successful, and they see it every year.
Right.
We always get transfers, and you can't blame guys for coming over because people get recruited better at Bell West. You're more successful at Bell West. We spread the ball. If you're an offensive guy, so he made the decision. I was super hyped, and all off season I was having him come because everyone else was doing track or basketball, but he would come catch me at Warren Academy when I was working out and stuff. So I've gotten close with him, and that was a really good get as well. He's obviously added a whole other element in blocking because he's super big. He's athletic. He's a pass threat. So that was another really good pickup for sure. So yeah, transfer portal has been nice to us again this year.
Yeah, it's been in the media. It has some negative and positive criticism. I don't know if you have some positive criticism, but I guess you can. But it's definitely been some negative criticism, with the timing of the transfer portal and college sports and so forth. But I really feel like it kind of ties in if you are someone who want to keep up with the times, So if you look at it from a college standpoint, if that's something that they're doing, then at the high school level, at some point, you gotta kind of appreciate it. And because us personally, we really didn't have, it really wasn't too many factors on us moving other than the fact that, I've always done my homework on Bellevue West. Isaiah kind of followed Bellevue West because he's just a fan of football. He studied the game. And once you start to realize after you put so much time in the game that you are fit in a certain style of offense, or you can see yourself in a certain type of culture, here it is. That's the big word. It's culture. Then you're gonna buy in like 10 times harder.
For sure.
Because you're going to feel like, okay, well, if the system is set up right, then you're going to get taught the right way so that you prepare for the next level. And that was kind of our determining factors on that. But I did want to ask you this question. So looking at when the schedule came out, did you have any games like on the schedule that you circled and was like, oh man, I want to do well in this one. We definitely got to win this one. Is there any?
Yeah. I mean, I want to do well in each game, but yeah, there's obviously you see a couple of teams that come up with that might spark a little more like, oh, I'm excited for that one. I'm not gonna lie, last week was a little bit of that for me because before I made a decision to go to Bell West, I was supposed to go to Prep, and my brother went to Prep. He was a swimmer there. And then long story short, ended up choosing Bell West. And I couldn't have made a better decision. And then that was a good game for me last week. That was a game I've had circled.
Nice.
And on top of that, first varsity start, so that was good. And then I'd say the second biggest one that's been circled would be Westside, just because they knocked us off last year.
Right.
They're the other transfer portal high, people want to say, whatever. So that's
they call it the transfer bowl. The transfer portal. Do they call it the transfer portal bowl? I think I read.
Yeah, I saw that. Omaha World Herald even said that. Yeah. I mean, I think we got 4 transfers. They got like double digits. Like they got a lot of people, especially with the Burke head coach going over there. Some Burke kids, a lot of Burke kids went, but that's.
But see, Danny, again.
So that's definitely
when look at the college. Right. So again, look at the college game. When a coach go to a school, that coach usually, some of the top guys or some of the key guys just follow. So it's like high school is kind of catching up to that, and I think it's going to be okay for going forward. Nice. So you come off as a natural leader to me, man. Like I think when I first met you, you were just kind of open to, having a conversation. I met your mom. I think you kind of is a reflection of her. She's a nice person. you have great communication skills. Like, where does that come from? Like, where does your leadership come from? Is I know quarterbacks they are asked to do a lot, but you gotta kind of have like a it factor about you to kind of take on those pressures, you know. So where does all this come
I would say a lot of it is in how I was raised. Like you said, my mom, I say I get a lot of my traits from my mom. And I think being a good leader and communicator is just being like a genuine person. And that just comes from like genuinely having conversations, not being like trying to be someone you're not, like in a conversation, or putting on a persona in front of certain people that you wouldn't in front of other people. So I think a big part of like just me as a person is just being genuine, being who I am. Doesn't matter who I'm around, who I'm talking to. I think that's something, and that's how I was always raised, is just be yourself, be a genuine person. And I think as far as leadership, I think, like you said, I feel like it's kind of come natural to me. Like growing up, I remember like my mom was telling me the other day, like my first grade, second grade, third grade teacher was just telling me like that I was just like the most mature in the class, just naturally. I don't know if that's just how I was raised or if I'm just naturally like that. So I think the leadership piece of it has come natural. And like you said, being a quarterback, especially a quarterback that wants to play at a high level, that's something you got to be. You got to be a leader. You got to be someone that your team can depend on, not only athletically, but also like as a leadership role when stuff breaks down, or you're going to be mentally tough.
That's definitely gonna take you a long way, man. Just as your character, you know, because your character is what people are gonna remember you as. You know, football is a part of it, you know, and then the other things that we do in life is a part of it, but your character is what people are gonna remember you by. So, speaking of that, man, as the leader, now let's talk about the O line. The offensive line, man, like I think that was like kind of like one of the biggest unknowns. Like how was the O line going to add up, hold up, and there were some guys who never played, certain positions, and guys who haven't played football in a while. So, what's your thoughts on the line and how far they have come since this summer?
I think as far as the O-line, like you said, a lot of unknowns, lost a lot of really good players from last year. And something that I saw this offseason from the O-line is just in the weight room. Some guys went out for wrestling. Like, it was just work ethic all offseason. Like, you just see how much they cared, how much guys who haven't really gotten the opportunity to play really wanted to make something happen with it. So I think that's something that's really prepared them this offseason. It was big for Kaelin to get healthy. It's great having him out on the field. He's a really good lineman. David Waller was a return starter from last year. And I think that's been a big part of it too, is leadership from guys that have already played, getting the guys who are kind of new to the O-line to step up. Got Fletcher and Austin, or two more undersized guys, but play their hearts out. And then Jacob Arote, who's kind of a different story there. Hasn't played tackle football since 6th or 7th grade. But obviously in basketball, he moves really well. He's obviously got great size. So luckily I was able to convince him during the winter to play. He came out and he started. Thought he did a pretty good job for his first start. I couldn't be any more proud than how they played against arguably what a lot of people are saying might be the best line team in the state. So the prep was definitely deep on the line, and I was really happy with how they played for sure.
Yes, because I had a rope on the menu here. Because Jacob Arope, I know Jacob, because I'm around basketball, and I can remember telling that kid probably in fifth. I remember telling that kid like 5th or 6th grade, hey man, you should play football. You should run track. Because I really saw him as an athletic kid that was really bigger than a lot of, people. But he can move well, because in basketball, you don't want to just play one position. You want to be agile to play multiple positions, And so I was like, man, you should play football, man. And so when I saw him playing football in, the position that he plays is very important, man. Like, all you got to do is think of Big Mike. Mike, the blind side, baby, protecting the blind side.
Exactly. Yep.
And I told him that I'm like, man, you Big Mike on the line, man. You know, because he's just a fun kid to kind of be around, man. And so I do want a favor from you, man. I want to get the whole offensive line on here. I could have like up to 9 people, man, and I really want to give them I want to give them the platform because this is I tell Isaiah all the time, you know, because I like to challenge him in areas where I feel like he just need to get better at as a person, you know. You know, go show your offensive line some love, man. You know, do the things necessary to, you know, be they best friend. You know, you do. You know, you have to do those things because it takes that offensive line really to set the tone, man, for everything, man. So shouts out to the offensive line, man. So the last question I got for you, I'm gonna show this play, man. It's fourth quarter. You know, I think y'all gotta drive like 80 yards, man. And I know you and Isaiah connected on two big plays in that drive. I think one play was, you know, you guys just converted like a huge third down. And then right after that, man, I want you to kind of tell us about this drive. I'm gonna show it here, okay?
Yep.
Yo, there it is. So take me back. Y'all gain the possession.
Yep.
Y'all get the possession. Take me back. Take us back.
Yep. So we got the ball. Defense clutched up. Got it back for us. We knew going in the drive. Huffman said, you know, everything's on one. We can't be slow, but we're not in a rush. We still have 2.5 minutes to go. So really something that they hadn't adjusted to all night and was working really well for us was just basic screen plays, getting it to Isaiah, Tyrell as quick as possible. So start out with a little L3 soap, which is one of our just our basic bubble play, got to Isaiah. I think he took that one for like 4. That one was a really long one. I thought he was gonna house it, but there was one block. Tyrell said his backside block, he would have had it. He kept having to juke one more guy, and then they finally got him. And then came back right after that, threw just a one-step screen to Kyrell. Isaiah and Ben threw some really good blocks, gave him a good alley. I think he picked up another first down on that one. And at that point, we were moving. We still probably had like 1:45 at that point. So we were doing good on time, taking it easy. Next one with an inside run. Brown just ran it right up the middle. Gio fought for some yards. I think we got like 4 from that play. Yeah. Right after that, we're right back to the bubble screen to Isaiah. Made another couple good moves. Got to the 5-yard line, I think is where we scored. Something like that. And then called the timeout. We got to the timeout. Huffman's like, he called just a rub play. So number 1 had a slant. Number 2, Ben was gonna have a 1-step out. They were in man. That's a man beater. So if they went into zone, Huffman told me, which we knew Prep did like zone in the red zone a lot. So he told me I just had to look at that. If they dropped in the zone, I come backside to Gio and Davon coming across. So I looked out. You can kind of see me. I paused for a second before the play because I was kind of looking around. They made they're making some calls, and usually if you're in man, you're not going to make any too special calls, and then you could see them kind of just playing off. So I rolled out a little bit. You could tell they weren't switching. They were just in zone. Look back to Gio coming across, wide open. Hit it for the touchdowns.
There it is. Hey man, that was sweet, man. That was sweet. But the part that's going to take you far, and here it go, it matches with your character, right? So your character defines that whole drive. Like you heard it before, ice in his veins. Like who you are as a person, like that's what carried that whole drive to where when it came down to money time, it's like you done been here before. You played in your head. You know, you probably played a video game and done played, no,
doubt.
So yeah, man. So man, that was great, man. Well, congratulations on that first win. Again, thank you for coming on the show. This is our second episode. We want to be able to get as many guys on here as we can, man, just to kind of just elevate themselves, you know, get some exposure, be able to talk about some things that Fans might not didn't know about you.
Yep.
And then for some people who, I think everyone needs some college exposure. Hopefully we can get some colleges on here to kind of just get their take too on some important information about you guys. So thank you for coming on. Do you have anything else to say, or what you thinking?
Nah, I look forward to possibly coming back on again. Appreciate you. This was fun.
Yeah, you'll come back on with that offensive line, because I'm gonna talk to Jacob too. That's my boy. I'm gonna holler at him.
Yeah.
All right, well, Daniel, thank you, my man.
Yep, appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night.
All right, take care. You too.
Yep, bye.
So that was Daniel Kaelin, not Keelan, Kaelin. That was Danny Kaelin, Bellevue West High School starting quarterback. We was able to kind of pick his brain a little bit. He talked about some pretty deep stuff, just being able to open up again. This is the platform that we want to allow athletes to, open up, talk about, childhood, grow up, what it is that kind of influenced him to be who he is. I think he gave shouts out to his moms. Shouts out to his mom. I know who his mom's is. I met her, a cool person. Again, he kind of reflect who she is, just in my opinion. And then, like I talked about that last drive there, man, he was cool. He was calm. And then he pulled out the victory for his team. So that's that. That's that. As we finish up that recap, we wanted to get his take on the game. This week, man, is week one. Week one, we got some key matchups here. So we're going to take another 30-second break here, and then we'll talk about some key matchups before we finish up the show. Yeah, we back here. We're just gonna talk a little bit about week one, some key matchups here, as the official high school season is really underway this Friday. I mean, week 0 was week 0, but it's a full slate of teams playing this week, this Friday. So let's kind of go through some matchups here. We got we have some a key matchup. We got Creighton Prep and we got Westside. We kind of talked about that. Westside is ranked number 3, and Creighton Prep, since they was 3, they lost week 0. They got bumped to like rank number 11, but they're still a pretty good team that's going to give Westside everything they can handle. I haven't seen Westside play. I know they got some key transfers in, especially at the skill position. They was already kind of skillful at certain positions, and then they had a pretty good defense. And so I don't know how they big boys hold up in the trenches, though, as far as the run stop. I know that their secondary is pretty good. They do good in some good pass coverage. They're pretty good at that. But as far as me watching Prep and seeing what they like to do, they're gonna do that all game. How well can Westside, hold them up the whole game, stop them, enough times to get the ball back. Westside, I feel like is balanced. They got a run presence and Jacquez, and then Jacquez, I want to say. And then, they got athletes. My man Jalen Lloyd, he was a key transfer there, playing receiver. He definitely got some speed on that at that wide out spot. So that's going to be a problem for, some of them corners on prep. I think they had a heavy dose of some athletes such as Jalen, when they played against Bellevue West. So, they'll be able to kind of look at film this week, kind of break down where they, didn't follow through or broke down on some plays and kind of fix it. Because they're going to have to definitely do that against Westside. But I do feel like that game is going to be close. At one point I thought Bell West was going to blow the doors off Prep. At one point they was up 21-7. But I think a couple of turnovers there on our end, on Bellevue West end, got them back into rhythm. So they're definitely capable of, turning the ball over and then sticking to what they know. So it's gonna be a factor of how well can Westside, run their stuff and be consistent in running their stuff. So yeah, that's Westside and Prep there. Another matchup is Bellevue West and North. Bellevue West come in at being 1-0. They come in at being 1-0, and this is Prep's. This is Omaha North's first game, so this is Omaha North's first game. So Prep, Bell West, they definitely gonna be coming in with a whole lot of momentum. I feel like it's that big win versus Prep is going to kind of give them a lot of rhythm going into this game against North. North, they have a lot of talent that a lot of people kind of been waiting to see this year. They got a lot of young talent too that's very capable of holding their own, and that's what I want to see kind of personally. So I think in that game it's going to come down to how consistent can both teams be on offense. I feel like it's going to be an offensive game. I think both teams is going to want to go touchdown for touchdown per possession. You know what I'm saying? So if it's going to take 2 minutes for Bell West to score, I think North going to want to take 2 minutes too. Because North got a pass threat. They got a run threat. They definitely got athletes, that's flying to the ball. So that one is going to be interesting. I think in Bellevue West case, since they had their first victory, they was able to show some resilience. They was able to show a lot of calmness. I think their coach told them, before the season, like, don't expect to blow out every team by 2 or 3 plus touchdowns. So they definitely figured out a way to win early against a pretty good team. I think that's what's going to take them a long way throughout the season. The game against Prep, just being able to win and put together enough drives to pull it out down the stretch. So yeah, that's the matchup, Bellevue West and North. And then some other games here. You got Omaha Northwest and you got Central. That's their first game. That game is going to be at Central. Central got they got some young talent. They had a lot of athletes transfer. So it's going to be an unknown on what Central can do. And versus a team like Northwest, well, I really haven't heard too much about Northwest. I feel like Northwest athletes don't get the credit as due because, they're not in the spotlight. They're not winning games all the time, but they definitely got some athletes over there. And again, that's what this show is about, so the people can get to know y'all, so we need to get some athletes on here from Northwest. We need to get some athletes on here from Central. That's for sure. neighborhood athletes, you know. Again, y'all need to go ahead and check us out. Follow us, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We need y'all to subscribe. We need y'all to follow. We need y'all to tell y'all friends to tell a friend. We need more athletes to get on here. Man, we need y'all to get on here after the game too. Win or loss. Hey, guess what? This is the truth. In college, win or loss. If you're an important player to your team, you're gonna have to go talk to the media and the press. You have to. That's like part of your scholarship. That's like in there. You know, it's the same reason they want to get inside your head on what went on during certain plays. Whether you threw an interception, you fumbled the ball, you got injured, to the same plays of you winning the you catching a touchdown play to win the game, or what have you. That's why you have media, you have press. And then if you're fortunate enough to go pro, you're really going to be forced to talk to the media and press. You know, that's in your contract. So for the same reasons and purposes, you know. But the whole point is for the fans to get to know you deeper and closer than just the game, than just them seeing you. And you got reporters to report it. So we're bringing it down to a high school level. And yeah, we need to get y'all on here. We need to get y'all on here. We need to be able to give you this platform, man, to, you know, talk about your experience, what you want to do in life, you know, how the season is going for you, what it is that's a challenge for you, being a student athlete and so forth. So yeah, subscribe to us, follow us, do all that good stuff, you know. I want to thank my man Danny, the quarterback from Bell West, you know, who, you know, led them guys to their first victory of the year. Man, we had a great interview. You know, hopefully I can get more people on here so we can have more interviews and, you know, really launch this podcast off. So why don't y'all help me help y'all, right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for tapping into the second episode of On Your Highlight Podcast, brought to you by Neighborhood Athletes. I'm going to see you guys back here Friday night, 11 p.m. Peace.